welcome to another Talk IT tutorial. So this is going to be lab 3 of the Python game. I'm not going to need to explain too much, but lab 2 we set up the structure. Now what we want to do is actually start coding and getting some stuff done, and what I'm going to do is do this by starting with the main script, which is sort of the thing that kicks everything off at the start. So opening up lab 3 here. So to create our program, first we're going to create the main script that initializes the game, keeps everything running. What features does this need? So by features I'm saying what do we need from the user straight away that we need to get this game kicked off with. So the number of colours, the number of pegs, we need to validate this. Do they want to play against the computer? They're going to play the computer, just see how that one works. So I'm going to have to explain this one. So you can play against the computer where the computer decides the random sequence, or you can have to watch the computer versus itself. So this is purely a technical task where you can have the AI effectively to replicate the player. Reason for that is it just allows a bit more complex coding. So once game type is chosen, then it needs to enter that and run until effectively you've either won it or lost it. So to start, we're going to open up the main script. I'm going to be writing some code that's going to take the user input for pegs, colours, and the number of players. So do they want to play the first type, which is player versus computer, or computer versus computer? So I'm going to just pull this across. So this is what we did in lab 2. So main.py, right click, edit with IDLE. And then you can see this is what we started off with here. So I'm just going to hold it just to the right of it so we can actually see the tutorial and we can see the code at the same time, which is really useful. So two things we need to do. We need to add a variable and then a while to that. So what I like to do is actually introduce these variables at the top. So while check equals true. So I'm going to just do that straight here. So check equals true, like so. That'll initialize the variable, and then what we want to do is while check is true, so we want to have this loop infinitely because we can't play the game until they've entered the correct pegs, numbers, and they've chosen the game type. So we're going to just say while check is equal to true, like so, and then what we can do is once we've validated everything, we can just make check equal to false and it'll come out of this while loop. So while check is equal to true, we want to try some stuff, and then we want to just, if we get an error, we want to print that and say, look, you haven't entered a number, you can only enter a number here. So just opening that up. So again, remembering indentation always when you do Python, because it is crucial that you get it right. So as you can see on this one, we've got while check is equal to true, and then we indents, and then we have a try, and then that will then indent itself. So you always indent inside this. If you don't, it's going to throw up errors for you, and you're going to need to resurrect those. Say resurrect, you're going to need to fix those before it'll actually work. So moving down, so try, we're going to take the number of colours as an input, it has to be an integer, number of pegs as an input, and the players. We're taking this as an integer input, so how many players, 1 or 2, where 1 is yourself versus the computer, 2 is computer versus computer. If the number of colours is in this set of lists, and if players equals 1 or players equals 2, check equals false, and it'll come out of that loop. Going to this, so this is inside this statement block here. So you can see I've copied it, and you're looking at it and you're going, oh, that's a little bit off there. So what I need to do is just go to format, indent region, like so. Gonna just make that a little bit wider so you can see it. So we've got a try catch around this, so we're going to try that. If they enter anything that's incorrect, it's going to come out as a type error here or a value error. If number of colours is in these, or number of pegs, so it's in the range of 3 to 8, then good. And if players is equal to 1 or it's equal to 2, then check is going to be false. We'll come out of the loop, and then we'll move out of this while loop, and we can continue with our code in the script as normal. And now what I can do is actually just run this code for you, and you can see how it works. So this is where you find out if you've actually got any format errors in there. But I haven't, because I've been able to run it. So 4, and then I choose player. It finishes because that's all the script does at the moment. And then you can see at the end here, what we're adding now is comments about how the game should work. I'm just going to go straight down to these comments here because it'll make a bit more sense. So we're adding two variables here, guess number and answer. I imagine you can guess what those are a little bit. Is that we have answer being a boolean, and guess number is an integer, and obviously guess number is going to have an end condition, so when that equals 12, then we want to finish the game. If answer becomes true, then also we want to finish the game. I'm just putting a little comment in there to separate it, so we can separate out variables from the actual script a little bit there, just to make things look neater and a bit easier to follow. So if players is equal to 1, while all of this, I'll put that in the code first, and then I'll try and explain it for you. So we come out of this while loop because we know the number of players. By players, the type of game we're going to be playing. So if it's 1, it's going to be player versus computer, else it's going to be computer versus computer. So while answer is equal to false and guess number is less than 12, I explained that a little bit before. We're going to get the player's guess, get the black and white clues from the guess, and see if they've won. At the moment it says continue because you need that, otherwise the code won't run. If guess number is equal to 12 and answer is equal to false, so print you have lost, the answer was, and tell them what the actual guess was. Same type of code for the AI version, but it's obviously just get the computer guess instead. So I'm just going to save that, just show you that it runs. So again, just 441, and what you're going to see in here is it's just going into an infinite loop. It's never ending because what it's doing is getting stuck in this while loop while answer equals false and guess number is less than 12, because we never increment guess number and answer never gets set to be true. And that is our main script right there. Very easy, it's not very complex, but where we have those comments is where we start adding this functionality in. Anyway, thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you in the next labs.